Hello and welcome once again to I Will Break Your Game featuring the Talos Principle. Today's a momentous occasion, for this is the last episode in World B. We're going to finish World B today and head into the uncharted territory of World C. First off, we're heading into this puzzle and beginning to complete it normally. Place your first cube on top of this mine, run back and quickly grab the second, and jump on top of your first cube. Now you can place the second cube on top of the stationary mine over by the wall. We're going to get both cubes out of the level here, so jump across to the cube you've just placed, grab the other, and head over to the other wall. Now it's nice and easy to drop out of this puzzle with both cubes. But we're not going to complete this puzzle just yet. We can do this puzzle nice and easily with 3 cubes, and it's possible to get more cubes out into the hub of this level from another puzzle, so we're going to go and complete that puzzle as well, and then come back to the first one. In this puzzle we're also going to begin to solve it normally, and then around halfway through we'll change our solution. So begin by grabbing this jammer, and we're going to use this to get the first cube, so come round and jam the fizzler. Next you can take the cube, and we're going to place this on top of the fan. Now use the jammer to activate the fan, but don't do what I did and accidentally jam the fan itself. I didn't quite realise what I'd done there. So I'd recommend pointing the jammer off in another direction. Once we've activated the fan, the cube acts as a bridge that allows us to get across to the other part of this level, and from there we can get a second cube and a splitter. You can only get this second cube by jamming the fizzler in front of it. So what we're going to do is take the splitter and bring it back round, but because we need the cube to be lifted on the fan in order to get across, we're going to replace our jammer with the splitter, and meanwhile we're also going to use the laser to activate the fizzler. Now we can head back across our cube bridge with the jammer, and this will allow us to get the second cube. Bring the second cube and the jammer back through with you. Now we're going to take this jammer and use it to jam the next fizzler that's in our way. Next, grab your first cube and bring it through the fizzler you've just jammed. Again, we're going to use the trick where we stack 2 cubes on top of each other and jump from higher ground. This grassy hill is where we're going to jump from, so place your first cube in front of that grass. Run back through and collect your second cube. And now you can place the second cube on top of your first, and using jump prompts, as usual, we can get on top of the wall and collect the sigil. But behind this wall there is hidden a third cube, which is part of the solution to one of the stars on this level. So turn around and collect the third cube. If you've been back and watched my episode that kind of recapped episode 10, which was episode 10.5, then you will have seen that using 3 cubes, you can build a staircase that pretty much allows you to very easily jump onto any standard size wall in Talos. And we've now got 3 cubes in this level, so what we're going to do is bring them all back up onto the raised shelf and build a staircase out of them, letting us get onto the high walls. I'm sure Crow Team were also aware that having 3 cubes at any given time allows you to make this staircase that means you can get onto fairly high walls in Talos. So I wouldn't be surprised if the breaks that I'm doing on this particular level were all intentional, especially since there's another puzzle on this level from which you can get 2 cubes out fairly easily. In fact, between the 2 puzzles alone that we've done already in this episode, you can get out 4 cubes, 2 splitters and a jammer, and this doesn't even include the other 2 puzzles on this level. I haven't even attempted to get any elements out of those, because the ones that we've got out of from these first 2 puzzles were more than enough to complete the entire level. Once you're up here with the jammer, you can make 2 simple jumps, and then you're on the edge of the level and you can just drop the jammer straight out. Now we're going to backtrack back to our cube staircase and bring 2 of the cubes out with us. There's a statue to my right there, and that's another way of completing this series of jumps, although I'm not sure if it's safer or not. But what you can do is, instead of jumping straight to the last wall, which you may under or overshoot, which is a bit of a problem from here since you can't now get back up onto our cube staircase, we've removed the first step. So you can jump onto the statue, place the cube down, and then jump on top of the cube and to the wall from there. And then if the cube's close enough, you can turn around and grab the cube. But the statue is at quite a slant, and if you place the cube down and it simply slides off, then you've lost it. I'm not sure which is the better option here, but feel free to try both. This is the only other cube we can take from here, since the other one is now too low to grab, but it doesn't matter, since the previous level that we broke allowed us to get 2 cubes out as well. So we can now take the 2 cubes that we took from that puzzle there, and begin to make a staircase with them. If you're eagle-eyed, you may spot that the jammer we took out of this level with us isn't here. That's just an editing thing. Originally when I recorded this, I forgot to bring out the jammer with me first time round, and it's going to be required for a later puzzle. So I had to go back, recomplete the puzzle, and edit in the taking of the jammer out to the solution for the puzzle I've just shown you. If you're even more eagle-eyed, you may have noticed that those two cubes were also in different positions than when we dropped them out of that puzzle, and again, it's for the same reason. So now we've built the staircase, we can very easily get on top of this wall. We're going to bring a cube with us and use the cube on top of a wall trick, where we offset the cube slightly, and then look around the edge for a jump prompt. This one's quite a tight corner, so do make sure you're as far out as you can, but once you make the jump, we're alright next to the sigil. The other cube that we didn't use, by the way, isn't actually going to get used at any point on this level, but I got it out in the first place just because I thought it was amusing that we could get so many elements out of puzzles and into the hub of this level. But 4 cubes is actually kind of redundant, you only need 3 to make the staircase. A few episodes back, I talked over Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd because I realised I might get flagged for content, but what I was talking about was what I was planning to do with this series in a couple of episodes' time, and we're nearing that time now. One of the things I said I might do was have a discussion as I broke World C for the first time, as I tried to work out solutions to breaking World C, where I would just go through the thought process behind that. And I'd like to do that. I'm going to try it, I think, with the first episode of World C, but I don't know how that format would work. It may just not be interesting, there may not be enough to say. It may take hours to do because I don't know how easy or difficult it's going to be to break those puzzles. I'm going to record it, and if I think it's interesting enough, then I'll upload it. And if it's fast enough, then it will also be the actual episode in which I give you the solutions. But if it takes a while, I'll probably upload a separate episode giving you the more concise solutions to the puzzles. There's also a couple of other things I wanted to mention. First of all, since I started this series, a few people who've been watching it have been doing a challenge run in Talos where you only use cubes and splitters to complete puzzles. I guess my series comes in kinda handy for that, because quite a lot of my solutions, as they're breaking the game, don't require you to use elements like fans or jammers, etc., that would otherwise be required by the game, so they can be used to complete some of these puzzles. However, not all of my solutions would allow you to complete this run, as, for example, the puzzle we're about to complete does in fact use a jammer. So what I may do in the future is go back and look at some puzzles, maybe even requested puzzles, and try and complete them if I haven't already, with only the use of cubes and with splitters, so that they can be used to complete this challenge run. Again, to reference episode 10.5, the person who challenged me to get 3 cubes into the hub of that level without using fans, I realised was asking because they were doing this challenge run. So I may do more of that in the future. And the second thing I wanted to mention was that throughout the series I've been talking about the fact that the end of World C would be the end of the series. I said halfway through World B that we were halfway through the series. That may not necessarily be the case. I only wanted to stick to that as kind of a precaution in case the campaign of the game was the only thing I could complete using breaks. But if it's possible, then as kind of a prologue to the series, I would go and do the tower, and I would go and do some of the star puzzles. It's just because I don't know if I definitely will do those that I didn't want to make that promise early on. I began to scout out the tower a few days ago just to see if it was possible. I've managed to break the first 2 puzzles in the tower so far, but the third one kind of has me stumped. It's just so minimal. It's some very high walls and a single jammer, and the use of the time manipulation device. But those elements just don't seem to be enough to make any kind of break. They just don't seem like manipulatable elements. So if anyone has a solution to breaking the tower 3rd puzzle, then please let me know, because I would like to carry on up the tower at the end of this series. But as it stands, this puzzle is one of the ones that I really think may just not have a solution. But I have thought that before and managed to do it, so I'll give it more time. I hope you're all looking forward to the next episode as much as I am, because from here this is all entirely new to me. I'm really quite looking forward to breaking some of the puzzles in World C. So join me next episode when we begin the final world in the Talos Principle. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.